50 years ago Sunday, a man from Dayton, Ohio called a New York newspaper and asked, "What time will it be the end of the world?" This was a typical reaction to a broadcast over the CBS radio network, a recreation of an all but forgotten novel by H.G. Wells. Tonight, Richard Roth takes a look back at what happened to see if it could happen again.
In Grover's Mill, New Jersey now, they can laugh about a Martian invasion, but to a lot of people 50 years ago, it was no joke. Dick Stives was 13 then.
This is real, yes. That was we were scared, and we didn't know what to think.
The monster is now in control of the middle section of New Jersey. And
it's said that more than 1 million people who heard the elaborate radio adaptation of a science fiction fantasy that Halloween Eve in 1938 believed it was true, believed that Martians had landed in rural New Jersey.
I'm, of course, surprised that
Orson Welles, who created the program, apologized for the panic, though years later he admitted War of the Worlds was intended to be a hoax.
I thought it'd be fun to prove that the radio could lie along with everything else.
It was television's turn, Wells said, to try the same thing. And though scholars and screenwriters have insisted it could happen again, in 50 years, nothing like what happened in Grover's Mill has ever quite been repeated.
Though not, it seems, for lack of trying. The Martian invaders of the 30s became Soviet missiles in the 80s.
Something you can almost taste.
Or nuclear terrorists in Charleston, South Carolina, in a made-for-TV movie.
There has been an atomic explosion in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, my God, this is terrible.
The Charleston situation did, in fact, cause a lot of people to get worried and to make telephone calls and to be afraid, very much the way the War of the Worlds did in 1938, but on a much smaller scale.
Much smaller. The Charleston TV show is hardly remembered. The War of the Worlds is still being recreated, most recently for broadcast this weekend on public radio.
Martian cylinders have been falling all across the country.
I believe people are more gullible today than they were then. There's been a headlong rush into irrationality with a big capital I in the last 20 years in our society.
And it still intrigues us that all of these events could have happened and makes us wonder about whether the event could happen again today.
And that is the theme of an anniversary this weekend in a small suburban hamlet, recalling a curious night of fear and panic half a century ago, now celebrated as a triumph of imagination. Richard Roth, CBS News, Grover's Mill.
And that's the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather, Bob Schieffer will be here with the news tomorrow. I'll see you Monday. Good night.